All right, let's get this started. I'm here joined by the current CEO of Origin PC, a vet in the industry who's been in gaming for over 20 years now, PCs and gaming. Thank you very much for coming, Kevin
Thank you for
Wasielewski.
having me.
So happy to have
Cody,
you here
thank you
today.
for having me. It's beautiful to be here at Rock Esports in Miami. Love the venue always. I'm tempted to want to just go over there and play games.
Yeah, me and you both.
But I also want to talk with you. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us the time. I've known you for a while now, ever since we opened up, and you've been very involved with us since the beginning, very supportive of us. And I've always been curious more about your story and where you came from and your upbringing and the steps that you took to be where you are today, and kind of just pick your brain a little bit. So I'm sure the viewers are going to be super interested as well. You know, a lot of us are gamers in the world in general, but a lot of people that support us are gamers, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information that they could take from it. One, to maybe get more inspired or motivated, but two, to just be more educated on certain things and related. Yeah, let's start it off. I would love to hear, how you first got started into gaming in general at your young ages, how your early life was.
Sure. I mean, how far do I go back? I don't know.
The day you were born.
The day I was born, I picked up a controller. I mean, my earliest memories of gaming would be like the Atari. But we'll fast forward to that because my earliest memories of wanting to be like involved in the gaming industry. I was playing a lot of Sierra online game, not Sierra Online, but Sierra, or maybe it is Sierra Online. I think it was called Sierra Online, but it wasn't actually online. It was just a cool name back in the day. So Sierra games, they make like King's Quest, Space Quest, Police Quest, games like that. I love those games. And I think it was Heroes Quest 2 that it was like a sequel coming, so I knew it was going to be awesome. I was saving up my money, and I guess I was in junior high. I don't remember exactly what grade I was in. I just remember that I would get lunch money from my parents, and I would actually not eat lunch, pocket the lunch money, and then save up that money. And then every month, go to Electronics Boutique, which is now GameStop. Every month, get my little flyer with a little $5 coupon. I think I remember it like it was yesterday. Save my flyer, my coupon, save my lunch money, and then buy a $50 game every month.
Wow.
And Heroes Quest 2, I think, was the one that I super nerded out on it. I was ready for it to launch. When it arrived, I was like studying the best way to play the game, etc. And I started like writing my own like notes and drawing my own maps. And I was like, oh, I really like this.
That's awesome.
This is a fun game, but I really like the whole thing of like creating the guide and Prima guides. I think it was Prima Games or Prima Guides were like the guides back then that you bought. So then in my mind, that's the first time, I thought of like, I want to like do this for a living. I want to make game guides and play video games and be paid. That would be like a dream job.
Be involved in like what your passion was.
Yeah. So then that evolved over the years. It evolved into, as I got older and then went to college, and I was like, okay, I got to, pick my career and pick my studies, etc. I determined I want to make video games. I want to be in the video game industry. What can I do? I want to make games. That's what was in my mind. So I started studying computer science at FIU. Well, actually, before that, I was studying advertising communications at FSU. Then I changed colleges and then changed my career path also. So I did speech writing, speech giving, advertising, communications, all the marketing side of things. And the reason I'm telling that part of the story is because all of this comes into play later in my career. So I'm doing that at FSU. I'm just partying, having a blast.
Were you always from Miami?
Yeah, from Miami, but then I went to Florida State. When I was at Florida State, two things I remember about gaming related about Florida State is that one, there was a local newspaper. I think it was called The Edge, like a small local newspaper, and they had a video game review section. So I contacted I guess it was the editor-in-chief or maybe the owner, contacted some boss type figure and said, oh, I want to write your game reviews. What will you pay me? And he's like, well, we'll give you money to rent the games. And that was it. I was like, okay. No, they'll give me like however much it cost me to rent the game, like $5 or something, ridiculously small. But I was like, okay. In my mind, free game rentals, free games.
Yeah.
I'm in. So I started writing game reviews for this local newspaper. And then the other thing I remembered is that I didn't have a computer in my house in college. Where we rented a house with some friends, but my roommate had a computer. So when he went off to class, I was all on that Warcraft 2. All day playing Warcraft 2, just bam, bam, bam. And then he would come back from college and he was studying bioengineering, something like insanely complex. And that's what he does now. Awesome for him.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes. So I'm studying advertising, doing this, having a blast. And then I realized, you know what? I kind of probably need to be more serious than a communications degree. Nothing wrong with that degree, but I'm like, I probably need a degree where I can probably get a better job maybe. So that I switched colleges, switched careers, switched studies, and started studying computer science.
Computer science.
Yeah, so in my mind, and then I started working at Electronics Boutique,
Oh, okay.
aka GameStop. So I'm working at Electronics Boutique, I'm studying computer science, and I have in my mind, I have this plan. They have this thing called the Manager's Show at GameStop, and every 6 months or every year, all of the managers meet, they're flown out to like Las Vegas or somewhere, and all the video game publishers are showing off their games to the managers because they want the managers to get hyped on the games so that the managers go back and tell the employees, and all the staff are hyped and they tell the customers when they walk into GameStop. So in my mind, I was like, all right, I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to go to a manager's show. I'm going to meet Activision or somebody, and I'm going to jump to Activision and work for them.
Yeah.
And that's how I'll get in the gaming industry. Because in Miami, there's no path, right?
There's nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's nothing here. I mean, there is now a few things, but
There's more, yeah, than
25 years ago, I don't really want to say how long. It's so long ago. There was no gaming industry here. So I'm on this path. I'm studying computer science. And then I do Calculus 1, no problem. I do Calculus 2, no problem. Easy, no problem at all. Then I do this class called Discrete Math. Have you ever heard of Discrete Math?
I've heard of it, yeah.
So you know what it is.
Not exactly.
Not exactly. So Discrete Math is word problems backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
It's
just
like,
clicked.
what? Imagine being given a short formula or a set of numbers, and then from that, you have to go backwards and create a paragraph. You create a paragraph of the word problem. So you have to literally write out the word problem that becomes this answer.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So I failed it. I tried it again. I failed it maybe 3 times. Either 2 or 3. I don't remember. It was traumatizing.
Like,
2 or
it's not
3
my
times I literally failed this class. I could not get it. I just didn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. That happens. And then I'm at GameStop, Electronics Boutique, and things are moving slowly. Like I want to move up the chain faster, but I'm not getting to manager yet. So this is a long time ago. There was no internet, no easily accessible internet.
Yeah.
There were no video game review sites. There was no social media. There was no way to know when you're in a store. Imagine being in a store right now. There's just a wall full of games, and you literally have no idea what any of these games
You're just
are.
like guessing, like cover art.
All these $50 games. Yeah, you look at the back of the box, you look at the front, but there's no reviews. There's no, word of mouth. You don't know. You have no idea what's good.
That's
So
crazy.
at GameStop, everybody would be like, turn around and ask me, hey, is this game any good? So I had tons of customers, my repeat customers, because I would play all the games. So I would tell everybody like, oh yeah, that game sucks. Don't buy that. Don't waste your money. Oh, this game is really good. You never heard of it, but check this out. Right? So I became like the guy that everybody would walk into the store and be like, ask him all the questions.
Yeah.
He knows all the games. So I had tons of repeat customers. There were these 2 guys that used to come in from Alienware, and they would come in like t-shirt and shorts and just buy games on their lunch. And I became, friends with them and recommending things. And then one day I was like, oh, you know what? Let me just ask them if they're hiring. So I asked this guy, Alex, I'm like, oh, are you guys hiring? He's like, oh, yeah, we're always hiring, So here's my card. Send me your resume. He gives me his card, and it's the president and the founder. I had no idea. I was like, whoa, what? I thought it was just some dude, some sales guy or something. I don't know. He's in a shorts and a t-shirt. Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh crap, this guy's the owner and the president. So then I email him my resume, I'm like, let's go. Super excited. And then nothing happens for 2 or 3 weeks. So I was like, all right, no problem. I guess whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out. This is a long time ago, so there's no cell phone. I don't have a cell phone. So he calls me, but he calls me at the store because there's no cell phone. Yeah. So he calls the store while I'm working. Hey, are you still interested in the job? I'm like, yes, but I'm at work. Can't talk about it here. And he's like, okay, well, I'm like, well, actually, I'm about to get off. My shift ends right now. I can go home and I can call you. We can talk about it. And I don't know if you know Alex Aguilar, the founder, one of the founders of Alienware, but he's super intense. He will get you to run through a wall type of guy. He's awesome. So he's like, no. Come now. I'm like, wait, no, I gotta, I'm wearing my work clothes. I want to change. I want to print out my resume properly, be ready. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, just come now. You got to come now. I'm like, okay, I'll come now. So I get in my car. He gives me the address. I'm driving, trying to find Alienware. And I'm driving up and down 120th Street, Southwest 120th Street for the local people in Kendall. That everyone knows that street.
Yep.
This was 25 years ago. So that street was much smaller. So I'm going up and down 120th Street, and I can't find it. I'm like, man, I can't find this place. Where is it? It's not here. Then it starts raining. Now it's raining. I can't find it. I can't really see the numbers as much anymore. And then again, I remember I have no cell phone.
Yeah. No GPS. No
GPS,
nothing.
no cell phone. Yeah, I can't just Google.
Yeah.
Boom, find in 2 seconds. Nope, can't do that. So then I have to pull over to a gas station
Ask for direction.
and now put quarters in the phone and call him and be like, hey, Alex, yeah. I'm like, I can't find your place. And he's like, no, 128th Street, not 120th Street. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I'm getting rained on. I was like, dude, now I'm all wet. I'm like, let me go home. I'll change. I'll come back tomorrow with the printed copy of my resume, and it'll be a nice, clean, I'll be ready for the interview. He's like, no, you got to come now. Just come right now. I'm like, okay. So then I go, and then knock on the door, and then this French guy welcomes me. Oh, hell, speaking in French accent. No, speaking English, but in French accent. I'm not going to try to do it because I can't do that. And his name is Christophe. He used to work there, and he's awesome. And he was in America for like 7 years at that point, but he never lost his French accent. So he talked like he just got here. So he's like, okay, you're interviewing for this role. I'm like, yeah. I don't even know what role it is. He's like, okay, what games are you playing right now? Oh, I'm playing Half-Life and I'm playing Sin. These 2 games that were new at the time. Oh, okay. He's like, that's good. He's like, well, what do you know about the PC games and like the latest games? I'm like, oh, well, I work at GameStop, Electronics Boutique, so I actually play all the games when they come out. I'm a huge gamer. I play everything. He's like, oh, that's really good. He's like, okay, interview's done. Go upstairs. I was like, that was it? Yeah.
That's a great interview.
Yeah. So I go upstairs. And then Alex is like, all right, how did it go? I'm like, good, I guess. And he's like, okay, we're going to offer you a job. I was like, oh, just like that? He's like, yes. Your job is going to be quality assurance.
Quality assurance.
And you're going to play games on every computer that leaves. So every computer before it goes to the customer, your job is to play video games on it, check the DVD, do this. And here's the pay. And it was 3 times what I was making at GameStop. Yeah.
That is awesome.
I was like, okay, I'll think about it. It was like a dream job, but I was like,
yeah,
I'll think about it.
Play it smart.
So then, but I did want to think about it in one respect. So then I go home. I did want to think about the fact that I was like on this path of like being a game developer, quote unquote. Yeah. Making games. To now all of a sudden doing this is like something totally different. It's in gaming, which I love, but it wasn't game development. So then I had to think about it myself. And then I asked my manager at the time, who was my friend at GameStop, Gerald Zapata. Shout out to Gerald. I asked him, I'm like, hey, Gerald, what do you think? I'm on this path. Like I'm almost there to be manager, and then I'll go to the manager's show, and then I'll meet it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, just go, bro. Just go. It's like, there's no guarantee of when you're going to move. Like things happen, and they've been telling me I'm going to move to district, and I haven't done the district because he was like, that was the thing. He was my manager. It's like when he becomes district, then I become manager.
Yeah, then the spot opens up.
But it just hasn't happened, because there's other people also that want to be district manager or whatever. So then I decided, okay, I'm out. So I gave my 2 weeks, and then I started at Alienware, and I was like top 7 employee, maybe top 10, top 7, like one of the first people.
How long was Alienware around for?
Before that
time you got into it?
I think 2 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Fresh.
Yeah. Yes, and it was in a small warehouse in 128th Street. So, and then remember I had the discrete math at the same time. So at the same time, I'm failing this class, and then I start Alienware. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like this company. Like, I like the way they're structured. They're like going after it. And there seems to be potential in my mind of gaming computers. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put school on hold, 100% on hold. And I'm going to put all my time and effort into this job, this company. I'm like, I'm going to just see what happens. Put all my energy into that.
That's a commitment. Like, you don't really see much of that anymore these days. Like,
right.
I'm just going to drop everything and put it all into this job.
Exactly. Like my shifting gears for a second, like my advice what I give to people when they're like, oh, I'm applying for a job. What should I do? Always write a cover letter. Always write a cover letter and show people that you're 100% committed to that job. You're not just applying to 1,000 jobs. I get 1,000 resumes all the time when we're hiring. We literally get hundreds of resumes, and I quickly look at them. Like before I even get anywhere deep into the resume, I'm looking for a cover letter or at least a little paragraph or something of like they actually want to work at Origin, not just applying to a million companies.
Yeah, you don't just want a paycheck. Like you want to be a valuable part
you
of this
actually want to work specifically here and like grow here and have a career.
Makes sense.
So in my mind, I decided like I'm gonna try to grow with this company and see what happens. Luckily, that worked out. I actually would do my job, and then during lunch, I would go talk to the other people, kind of learn their job. But then I would stay late. When my shift was finished, I would go to somebody else and just see what they were doing and be like, oh, teach me, integration. Teach me assembly, teach me these other things. So I learned all these different jobs. And then as the company grew, I was doing quality assurance. There was one other guy doing it. and I started like running circles around that other person. And then and then Christoph was the manager, the guy who interviewed me. And I noticed that I was like busting my butt and the other guy was like coasting. And I was like, there's no porting, for lack of a better word. So I put like on the wall, like sort of like a whiteboard type of thing. I put like let's like keep track of all the PCs we're shipping. Every time we ship a PC, we'll just put like our initials and we'll, put the date or something. Because in my mind, there was a strategy there. So we started doing that. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's keep track of the PCs. So we started doing that. And then, at the end of the month, it was like, Kevin shipped 50 computers and the other guy shipped 10. Like, wait a minute. So then they started noticing, oh, this guy's really busting his butt. That was one thing that helped me. Another thing is I was just dressed in a polo and presentable instead of just being t-shirt and shorts, which was optional. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I wore a polo every day and jeans.
You want to be more professional.
And then one day they wanted to post a picture. They're like, oh, we need to post a picture because we had, I think it was processors. There was a big Intel processor that was out and like nobody had it. And we wanted to show the world like, oh no, we have a bunch of these processors. So you should buy computers from us because look, we have the inventory. So we went to like the stock room and they're like, oh, they came downstairs and they looked around. They're like, Kevin, come with me. I was like, okay, what happened? And they're like, stand over here. It's just me like standing there. Like, but I'm standing there and there's motherboards or processors behind me. And then they posted that on the internet. Oh, we have the new Intel, blah, 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 blah. And then they took a picture and they're like, okay, go downstairs. And then later they told me, they're like, oh, the only reason we did that is because you were wearing a polo. We went downstairs and you were the guy like looking presentable. So we're like, come on, we gotta get a picture. So then one day, as the company grew, they needed more salespeople. They needed people in other areas. So then they just put me in tech support. They're like, oh, you're gonna do tech support now. I was like, okay. So I did tech support, but I only did that for like a week. I didn't like it, and they saw that I wasn't a good fit for that. So they're like, oh, no, go back to quality assurance. So I did that for a week. I wasn't the best at it. I didn't love it. They put me back, and then sales opened up. So then they're like, okay, now there's a sales job. So
how long were you doing the quality assurance for?
Maybe a year. I just know that it was 10. I worked there for 10 years, and I had 7 different promotions. I don't know exactly how long each one was, but yeah. So then I worked my way into sales, and then my job was taking orders. This is a long time ago. So somebody buying a computer on the internet would call me or somebody else, and I would literally take their order, like, oh, you want the Intel, I can't think of an old processor name, the Intel Celeron. I mean, not Celeron because that's low end, but the Intel blah, blah, blah. And then I would literally write it down on a piece of paper, like a little thing that you see like a waiter or waitress use that has like the lines and the quantity. I would write down like one, blah, 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 motherboard, whatever, and then get their credit card information, punch in the credit card, process the credit card, and then take that, and I forgot who I gave it to. Then you would give that to somebody, or accounting, give that to the accounting person, and then that would be officially my sale, and I would get commission on it. That's how we took orders, by hand.
Nice.
So I want to pause because I don't want to just be talking the whole time, but I can tell you more. But yeah.
No, I'm loving everything you're saying. I'm taking it all in.
So I guess we'll fast forward because we don't want to talk the whole thing about just. So then from sales, then I went to sales manager. Then I went to global sales manager. I think they let me create that title because I wanted like a cool title. I'm like, what could be a cool title? How about global sales manager? Even though it was the same as sales manager, it didn't mean any difference. So then I had a sales staff under me, and then we were commission based, and we were selling like crazy. So then one day they're like, okay, you're making too much money. You're making too much money in this role. We're going to give you a new opportunity. And that's when they gave me the option. They gave me the option of you can go into manufacturing or you can go into marketing. And I was like, I think I'll pick marketing. Yeah. I'll pick marketing. Then I started in marketing. I started at the bottom again. I was global sales manager and then became marketing associate.
That's crazy.
So that was sort of a promotion, but not really. I guess that wasn't a promotion. But.
You got paid less though?
I don't remember. I must have got paid less because they were like, you're making too much money. We need to change things. So I did get paid less like base salary, but I got paid less if you
commission,
like base salary plus commission because there was no more commission. But I saw it as like another way to like keep growing,
keep
with
learning.
The company. Because they're like, you kind of tapped out here. There's nowhere to go up from global sales manager. There's no sales director, sales vice, it's just sales manager. That's always what it's going to be. So when I started at Alienware, before I took the job, I went to, remember when I was saying that I was thinking about the job and I wasn't sure if I was going to take it. They offered it to me 3 times the pay. When I actually took the job, I called Alex. Oh yeah, I really want to, work at Alienware. So I was expecting a manager position. I'm a manager now. This is really like an entry-level position. So even though it's not what I'm looking for more responsibility. I told him I'm going to take this entry level role and I'm going to prove to you that I could be worth more.
Nice.
So I said it in his mind of like, look, I really want to move up and I'm going to prove to you.
That
That being
stuck with
said,
him.
that being said, was able to move up to sales, then sales manager, then I became marketing associate, and then in marketing I was working for Frank Azor. Shout out to Frank Azor. He's awesome. He's was at Alienware forever, one of the original guys, and now he's at AMD.
Yeah.
And I worked for him for many, many years. And even in sales, we worked together. When we were in sales, I was a sales person, associate, whatever my title was. And he was also, I guess, sales associate. I'm not sure what the titles were, but he was part-time. So he was actually coming from high school. After high school, he would come into work and sell computers. And I'd be there all day, and then this high school kid would come in and be like, hey, did you email my customers the tracking information? I'm looking around like, where's this kid? Like telling me, I'm like, no, I didn't email your customers. Why would I email your customers? Oh, you have to email me. I'm like, what do you mean I have to? Who are you? So that was just shows you that even at high school, Frank was like a go-getter, like boom, 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 let's go. Yeah. So then I worked for him in marketing, and it was awesome. Like he was one of the best bosses I ever had. Helped me grow. As he grew, I grew. You know, him and I did, with the direction, of course, of the founders, Alex and Nelson. Nelson was the vision. You know, they were both visionaries, but Nelson was more visionary and Alex was more operational and like bam, 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 high energy. So they had the original vision and the original strategy and the marketing and how everything should be done. Frank and I learned from that and helped grow the company. And I would go to all the gaming events and network like crazy with all the game companies. And then I started doing these partnerships. This was a long time ago. I don't know if I was the first one to do it. I don't remember other people doing it the way I did it. So I would go to people's booths at events. You know, now this is very common, but 25 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it was, I would go to like the Sierra booth or whatever, or the Activision booth, or the Warner Brothers booth. Who else did we work with? A bunch of other people. I can't remember. And I would just literally walk into the booth and find like, oh, who's in charge of the booth? Who's in charge of the PCs? Who's, and they'd find somebody. And they'd be like, oh, I'm from Alienware. And I noticed, that you're showing off your games here at this event. Like, how would you like to have like super high-end PCs that show off your PC, your game to make it run the best? And they're like, oh yeah, I would love that. I'm like, well, I can actually loan you those PCs for free. And they're like, oh, you're not going to charge us? And I'm like, no, because they could rent. They're like, oh, we could rent PCs from E3 or whatever. They're super expensive. I'm like, no, I'll loan you the PCs for free. I just want you to give me some exposure. Oh, okay, well, what do you want? Well, put the PC like there. People can see it. Put a little sign that says playing on Alienware. So that's where I started, and I was getting deals like left and right. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can ask for more. So then I started asking people for more things, and I'm like, oh, so on the game box, can you just put a little logo on the game box that says plays best on Alienware? And they're like, yeah, sure, logo on the box, whatever. They don't care, on the back of the box. And then I was like, well, could you put like a flyer inside the box? I'll print it. And there's like a little thing that says plays best on Alienware, and go and sign up here to win. I'm like, that way you're giving away a PC, and they're like, oh, sure, like whatever, it doesn't cost us anything. So I got deals like that where I would just literally make a contract myself that says you're going to do all this. I'm going to loan you 20 PCs, sign here. I get them to sign it, and then I would sign it, and then I'll bring it to Frank and be like, here you go. And he'd be like, what the heck is this? How did you get this done? I'm like, I just did it.
That's awesome.
And then I asked for the best thing. I got tons of deals like that. So we have a lot of game boxes where it says Alienware on the back. And then I started getting, I was like, oh, when the game boots up, can you put like a plays best on Alienware? So I got not a lot of those, but we got some of those. So a little boot up thing when the game would boot up. And then one year, I remember everything changed one year. One year, NVIDIA, I think it was NVIDIA, somebody, started paying for that, paying big money for that. So one time I asked for that, and they were like, oh, you want that? That costs $300,000.
Jeez.
Like, okay, never mind. You don't have to give me that. Just give me the other stuff. So we would get it for free just for loaning PCs, and other people were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. Because think about it. You're getting your marketing, that comes from my days of, studying advertising marketing, but also working at the store and seeing the boxes all day, every day, watching people all day, every day. Walk up, look at the box, look at the back of the box, put it back. And me being a gamer, buying the games, opening up, looking at all the stuff inside. So I knew that like, okay, gamers are like, that's how can you market to gamers right there? That's what's in their hand. They're looking at it. They want to play this game. Plays best on Alienware is in their mind now. So awesome. I was able to do a bunch of deals like that. And then Frank was kicking butt overall company-wise, marketing and just being one of the leaders of the company. So as he moved up, I was marketing associate, then I became marketing manager, then I became marketing director, then I became VP of marketing.
What was the last one?
VP, vice president of marketing. And then at that point, Frank was, I think, executive vice president of the whole company.
Wow. Yeah,
so it was Alex, Nelson, Frank. And then I had a staff of, I think, 20 people, running our whole marketing team, doing the website, doing print ads. Marketing back then was very easy. You had your website and you had 3 magazines. Maximum PC, if I can remember them. Maximum PC, Computer Gaming World, and PC Gamer. Yeah. those 3 magazines. We would buy print ads in those magazines, send reviews to those magazines. And that was our entire marketing campaign, strategy, everything for the whole year. That's all you did.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do. Dominate those magazines. That's where the gamers are.
That's what
And then
everyone was looking at.
Yeah, and then the gaming stuff I did was just extra, like all these game partnerships. Now it's totally different. Now you have Google AdWords, pre-roll ads, you have YouTube, you have influencers, you have social media, you have TV advertising, of course, still exists. Print ad,
email campaigns,
still exists. You have emails, email drip campaigns, email remarketing. It's much more complex now. Esports tournaments, live streams, like all these different ways, events that you can market to people. And then I became, and then I was doing business development also. So then I was business development director also at Alienware at one point. Then we get acquired by Dell.
Yes.
So Michael Dell comes in, shuts down the factory for a day or half a day or something. And, to like introduce the Dell brand and himself. He makes a stage, they play rock music, and he's wearing a Alienware t-shirt and jeans, and he comes on, he's like, "We come in peace." I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it was fine. I'm not saying anything bad. But.
Yeah, of course.
So then he's like, "Okay, I'm just here to let you know that, hey, there's a lot of rumors, but don't worry, nobody's going to lose their job. Nothing's going to change."
Nothing's going to change, yeah.
And, over time, business is business, I understand. So things did change over time. Business decisions are made. 2 years into it, and then I'm like, I'm going to learn the Dell secret sauce. This is so awesome. We're drinking the Kool-Aid. We're going to learn the Dell secret sauce. So then I fly to Austin. I start talking to the marketing people there, and I quickly realize that the secret sauce is that they're just sheer size and scale of everything.
Yeah,
they're so big.
Scale.
The economies of scale, and they're so good at what they do. They're so efficient that they can just like get the lowest cost and to be the most efficient and do it at a large scale. So that's something that Alienware like plugged into perfectly, right? Because Alienware was not about large, huge scale and the cheapest.
It was about making like the best.
Cheapest. Yeah, it was about making the best. So then the Alienware brand came a little bit more mainstream. So Alienware was at the very top.
I had an Alienware laptop growing up. I was
which one?
In middle school. I can't even remember the name of it. The thing was a tank. It was like this big,
so
heavy.
The Area 51 or the MX-18?
I can't even remember. It's been so long. I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And the only reason I got it is because my cousins were big gamers before me and their parents got them laptops. So I was just going over playing on their stuff a lot of the time. They were playing World of Warcraft at the time, like vanilla, classic, the original, of course. And from there, just like one cousin got one, and then we all slowly but surely, as we started getting a little bit older, our parents just got us Alienware laptops.
Nice. Yeah,
we would go all together at each other's house, like 3-4 laptops, just gaming all together.
That is awesome. I can totally feel the whole vibe and picture it.
Yeah, Alienware was such like a big name. Like they were so known for having like the best, the best laptops, the best PCs. And
still the best known gaming PC brand, probably. Yeah. One of the best, arguably the best, right? The best and the most well known.
It's just after they got acquired, I feel like they just lost that touch a lot.
Well, they did become more mainstream.
Yeah.
So the way my personal description of it is like Alienware was Lamborghini, Bugatti, Ferrari, and instead they became like Aston Martin.
Okay.
Or maybe like a high-end BMW or. So it's still high end, but they're not as the highest end as they were. And then, that's a business strategy there. They now can sell a lot more.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can afford a Lamborghini. 2 years into the Dell deal, I started thinking of like, okay, I don't love working for Dell. Nothing against them, but I just didn't love it. The Alienware passion wasn't the same. Alex and Nelson, the founders, were gone already. They had retired. So I started thinking like, all right, what am I going to do? I almost worked for a software company. So I was doing business development at Alienware. So there was a software that I was looking into, and it wasn't Xfire, but do you know what Xfire is?
Sounds familiar.
Xfire, this is a long time ago. So you have to go back in time when computers weren't the way they are now, and everybody didn't have cell phones. So it wasn't easy to contact each other when you were playing a game. Mm-hmm. So this company called Xfire made this software that overlaid on top of your video games. Oh. And you could have a friends list, and you could message your friends and be like, okay, get on this server, let's play Rainbow Six, whatever. If not, it was like very, very hard to communicate with people and get them on the same server.
And was it just text?
Just text, yeah. Just a little messaging app. Yep. So that thing blew up. I forgot how many, maybe it had millions of users, and I think it sold for like 6 million or maybe 60 million. I don't know. It sold for a lot of money.
A lot, yeah.
To MTV, I think. I'm pretty sure MTV bought it.
MTV,
and I'm pretty sure they tanked it. I don't know what happened there. I don't remember. But there's this other software that was coming up, and it was like that, but it could do way more. Like, we have the overlay of chat, but we also have like a little mini web browser. So you can look up secrets while you're playing the game, overlaid. And then there was like a little music player, and I forgot what else. All these little things you could do. I was like, oh, this is awesome as a gamer. So I'm like, so I started talking to the founder of that company. I'm like, hey, look, I think I might be leaving. Maybe I could join you, but I want to be a partner. So we negotiated everything. I was actually the done deal. I was going to move to Idaho, be his partner, and help run it. And in my mind, I was like, I'll move to Idaho for like 2 to 5 years, then we'll sell the company, and then I'll move back to Miami.
How old were
nothing
you
against
around this
Idaho,
time?
but I don't want to live in Idaho forever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I would have loved it. Who knows? But how old was I at that time?
Yeah.
20 something, I guess.
And you're already negotiating at a young age, like, hey, I want to be a partner in this business.
Yeah, because I wasn't a partner at Alienware. So, and then the Alienware acquisition happened. I'm like, okay, next time I'm going to make sure I have equity and be a partner.
Yes.
So then we have the software, getting in front of Frank Azora at Alienware. He's like, yeah, this looks cool. I'm like, okay, so, we have a deal in place where the software was going to be installed on all Alienware PCs. And I'm actually doing the biz dev deal for that at Alienware. But at the same time, I'm moonlighting at that other company, and I'm going to go work for them. But then we get the software in-house and we test it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't do all this stuff you said it's going to do. It's crashing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, we'll fix it. So I don't know how long, but there was maybe a year that I'm looking at this deal, but then it's not working. So then it's like, wait a minute. So then my partner at Origin, Richard Carey, he was the one who came into my office at Alienware. He comes in my office, closes the door, and he's like, I have an idea. I was like, oh, what's your idea? He's like, Alienware used to be the very, very top, right? Now they got bought by Dell. Now they're not the very top. So they left a gap of space in the industry. There's other companies out there like Falcon Northwest. They're great, but they're small, and they're not trying to be huge. He's like, we can make another company going back to that same spot. I was like, that's true. He's like, this is what we know how to do. This is what we've been, we have all the context. We've been doing it forever. This is what we like to do. He's like, this is what we should do. I was like, I'm in. Just like that. There was no thinking about it. There was no sleeping on it. I was like, yes, I want to do this. And then I called, the other company. I didn't say their name. The software company that didn't work out. I called them and I was like, sorry, it's not working out. Your software's not working. And, they didn't go for it anyways. I don't know what happened, but I think they tried for a couple more years and then they pivoted to something else. So then I left Alienware first and started working on the structure of the Origin. I mean, we didn't have a name. The structure of the company. What are we going to call it? We actually hired some ex-Alienware people that had a marketing agency, had them pitch us some ideas. I still have some of the boards in my house of the ideas of the different company names. One was Forge PC. Forge, yeah. And we really liked that one, but we couldn't get the URL. The URL was taken. We contacted the guy who owned it, and he's like, oh no, I want to make my own game PC, something, maybe, I'm going to do something with this. We're like, okay, whatever. He didn't want to sell it. The other one was a CIA-themed company. Become part of the, Secret Service, super cool, Men in Black, sort of like a theme. And then the other theme was Origin, which was kind of organic. I don't know if it was necessarily time-based, but we liked the name Origin and we liked the O because we were like, okay, we need a name and we need an iconic
logo.
Icon. Yeah, Alienware had that
token.
head. Alien head, yeah. But we need an icon, token. So yes, you always had to have that.
Yeah. We had the same conversation.
Oh, nice.
Years later.
Origin was taken by a pharmaceutical company.
Oh, wow.
But Origin PC was available. So okay, well, get the URL, Origin. We even looked at Origins with an S, Origins with a Z. And we're like, we'll just do Origin PC.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then the original Origin logo didn't have the dot on the O. And I added the dot because I'm like, I think that adds a little more character, personality. It's almost like a scope. It's almost like an eye.
Bullseye.
Yes. So then we had the name of the company. Then I contacted somebody who used to work at Alienware, who was one of our web designers when I was VP of marketing. Hired him to make the website. So him and I were sketching out the website. This is how you're going to configure a PC. You're going to choose this first, choose the case, and then he would actually make it. Then we built our very first ever PC on my pool table. So the very first ever Origin PC was built on my pool table here in Kendall.
Nice.
And then I had a friend of mine that was doing photography of models of humans, and I asked him, could we pay you to shoot some photography? So we paid him. He took the one PC and shot some photography of it. And that was a Corsair chassis. Our first ever PC was a Corsair 800D, I think it was.
Wow. That
was our first PC. Then we hired our first employee. So it was Hector, Richard, and I as the three founders. And then we hired George Percival.
Did you hire them before even making any sales?
Yeah. So I recruited George. I had lunch with him. and I said, hey, you know, I know you're at Dell, but we're doing this company, this opportunity. You could be our first employee. And I knew he was really good at, you know, tweaking computers and building computers, and he was super techie. I did actually know he had a marketing mind as well, but he also had that. So then he took the job, and then for the first year, we didn't pay ourselves, the founders. You know, we're a startup, so we each of us put some money in. We didn't have any outside investors. So it's just the three of us. We put our own money in, and then we said, for the first year, we won't pay ourselves. We'll pay our one employee. We can afford to pay him with the money we put in to the company. We can afford the warehouse. We can afford to pay one employee. We can afford the website and like some inventory.
How much did you guys put in originally?
We put in $50,000 each, so $150,000 total. So it's not a lot of money to last a year. And we did the math. I forgot what it was, but we did the math of like, all right, this is how many computers we have to sell per month to like survive.
I know at the beginning, like your goal is just to break even.
Break even analysis. We did our break even analysis. Let's pretend like it was 30. I think maybe it was less. We need to sell 30 computers a month. So we're like one computer a day. If we sell one computer a day, we will survive. We'll break even and we could survive. And then luckily that worked out. We launched on November 17th, 2009. And then we sold our first computer, I think November 20th, something like that, like 3 days later. We had our first sale ever. I have it framed in my house. It was a laptop. It was an 18-inch laptop with 2 GPUs. And it was like $6,000.
Damn.
And we were like, whoa, somebody actually bought a computer from us. And then, luckily it worked out. Over the years, we just busted our butts, did everything we could, marketing-wise, product-wise, manufacturing-wise, sales-wise, customer service. You know, every computer came with 24/7 lifetime support. Our whole strategy was like, we want to make a company that's going back to the beginning. So going back to the beginning of Alienware, that's where origin comes from. We're going back to the origin, starting over. When Alienware was just small and we just wanted to make the best computers, that's what we were like, we want that DNA. So we want to make the fastest performance, we want to have the most customization options, and we want to have the best tech support and service.
And quality.
And those are like the 3 pillars. The quality.
And quality insurance coming back.
So I actually remember going to E3 before the company launched, and I met with my press contacts. So at Alienware, when I was in marketing, I had a bunch of contacts in the press industry. So I went and I started meeting with them before Origin and told them, hey, we're going to launch this company. We want to let you know I'm going to send you a press release when we launch if you want to cover us with a news story. This was in 2008, 2009. So for those that know gaming history, I don't know if I'm sure you're not going to place it in your mind, but when I explain it, this was the time when the Xbox 360 was like dominating. Everybody had Xbox 360. It was the best gaming console. It was selling like crazy. And then PC games were being pirated like crazy. People were copying PC games. And publishers were like, I can make money on the Xbox. I can't make money on PC because PC gamers don't buy. They just copy it.
Yeah.
They just pirate it. So it was actually swinging in a direction of like PC gaming was dying and console gaming was growing. And a lot of people thought like, oh, that's it. It's over for PC gaming. And when I met with all my press contacts, they're like, oh, I don't know. How are you going to compete with Alienware and Dell? Like, how are you going to do that? You're just a startup out of nowhere. And plus consoles are dominating. Like, how are you guys going to survive? And every single person told me that. And every single person I said, I'm not trying to sell as many as Alienware, right? We're not trying to compete with Alienware. We're not trying to sell, the huge volume that Alienware is. We just want to sell a small amount of computers and, make enough to be happier and survive. Make some really cool products. That's it. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess if we're going to be small, that might work. That was our strategy. And then when we started Origin, the economy was also not doing well. The US economy was also tanking. So people are like, the economy's tanking. Like, what are you doing starting a high-end gaming PC company? We're like, this is what we love. This is our passion. We think there's a market out there. Alienware built the market, grew this market, and then vacated it. So we're like, there's a market there.
There's opportunity.
Yeah, there's opportunity there. And we believed in PC gaming because we just love playing PC games. Then what ends up happening in the industry is that Valve, this little company Valve comes around. I mean, they were already around. But this little company Valve starts this little app called Steam.
Yeah.
Yes. They make this app called Steam, and it was super annoying when it first launched. When Steam first launched, everybody literally hated it. You know why? You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because you know why, yes. But we'll talk about it.
Say it.
Yeah. Half-Life 2. I remember I bought Half-Life 2 at the store. I went home to play Half-Life 2, and the game is like, you cannot run this game unless you have Steam. Oh, what the heck is Steam? What is this crap? Yeah. You have to download this app. I'm like, what the? I have to download an app to play this game? This is BS. You have to download this app. You have to sign up. You register the game code, and then you can play. I'm like, whatever. I want to play this game. I'm going to do it. Yeah, begrudgingly, screw these guys. There, I did it. Screw this. I'll never use Steam again in my mind. But that actually saved PC gaming because I didn't understand it at the time. But now I realize, oh, wait a minute. people can't copy Half-Life 2. They can't pirate the game because it won't work. Like if I give you my copy of Half-Life 2 and you copy it, you go put it, you could do that. You could physically copy it. You have a copy of my game, you put it in your computer, and it's going to say, oh, you have to register on Steam. And you're going to download Steam, and you're going to put in, you're not going to have the number. But if I gave you the code, you put it in the code, and it's going to say, no, it's already on this Steam account. There cannot be 2 Steam accounts with the same game. And then you're done. You're like, oh, I guess I have to buy the game. So that took off. Steam took off. Half-Life 2 took off. And then the other thing that happened was World of Warcraft.
I'm still playing to this day.
Yeah, World of Warcraft at the same time is taking off. So now all of a sudden, the number one selling game probably at the time was World of Warcraft, like money generating, because people are paying $20 a month to play it. So now all of a sudden, PC gaming is dominating again. It's like, whoa, PC, all this money is going into PC gaming. Half-Life 2, best-selling game. World of Warcraft, best-selling game. And then all the game publishers that were the year before were starting to say, oh no, we're going to release our game on console only.
Yeah, exclusives.
Or we're going to release our game on console first, because they didn't care about PC. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, I can make a lot of money again. There's way more PCs than consoles in the world, install base. So that turned the whole gaming PC industry back to like on the upswing. And luckily we had the timing of creating a company, and then with the strategy of like performance, most customization, best customer service, great quality products. And then just marketing it as any way we could.
So when did things kind of start to flip for you guys from like, hey, we're starting a company, let's try to break even, to like, this is going well type thing?
The moment in time for me, I mean, my partners I'm sure they'll say something different, but for me, the thing that like clicked in my mind of like, oh crap, this is like a real company, was when we hired a programmer. Because we had a website and we had a configurator, configure all your options. And when we started the website, we had a part-time web developer that I hired, and then a part-time, web developer for the design, and then a part-time programmer to program the backend. So we started launching like so many products and having so many products that we're like, man, we're paying the programmer a lot. We should just hire the programmer full-time. So the moment we hired this 6-figure programmer, I was like, whoa, this is like a real company. Like we're paying somebody that does something I have no idea how to do it. I could never do it. We're paying him a really good salary. And I'm like, and we're doing this. We're paying him. This is weird. Like, wait a minute, we actually made a company.
Yeah.
So for me, that I don't know when that was, like 1 or 2 years into it or whatever it was. It wasn't like, oh, we sold this many computers or we launched this product. It was just, for me, it was that moment.
Yeah,
when
you
we
were
hired
able
that
to
person.
afford paying someone $100,000.
Yeah, a specialist. Yeah, exactly. $100,000 specialist, that went to school to like be that specialist. And he could get hired at anywhere. He was really good at what he did, but he was working for us. So he still works for Origin as well.
That is amazing.
Shout out to Abe.
Is he in Miami?
Abe is here in Miami. He's our programmer. He's still our programmer doing all the back end of the Origin website. He's still the same guy doing it. Yep. He's awesome.
Damn. He knows everything about Origin.
Yes, he knows. And he can make everything work or not work on the website.
Yeah.
Then it was a 10-year run at Origin. So 10 years. I was 10 years at Alienware, 10 years at Origin. And then 2009 we started. 2019 we get acquired by Corsair.
Yeah.
And now it's been 5 years at Corsair. And Corsair's been great.
How was that process like at the beginning and the conversation?
So the Alienware Dell deal was a little different. Alienware guys have been doing it for a long time, and in their mind, they wanted to get acquired by Dell because it was the same business model of just in time business model where you sell the computer, then order the parts, and then deliver online business. So at Origin, we were saying, okay, well, we want to fit with somebody that has the same culture, that's dedicated to gaming, and also that's going to value the employees and the facility and, not want to move things. Because Dell came in and they're like, okay, well, it could be more efficient if we move it here. We do that. Because Dell has a million things going on.
Yeah,
Gaming
they moved it to China and
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah. And, that makes sense for their business. They have a million things going on. Gaming is just one thing that they do. It's much more efficient if they did it the way they did it. Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay, when we get at Origin, we're like, hopefully we can get acquired. We start shopping around. And we're like, okay, we want a partner that's dedicated to gaming, dedicated to high performance quality, and is going to, want the staff and the factory, and they want everything to stay intact and want the brand. So we started shopping around with those parameters, and then we had a third party that would help us. And that third party was also helping Corsair. So because Corsair was looking we didn't know.
Yeah.
But Corsair had a third party looking for, and then we hired the same third party who I had met.
That's a small world.
Yeah, it was somebody at one of the many events that I went to. Was somebody that I knew at those events. He introduced me to somebody at that company. I'm like, all right, this is the company that you should work with to try to get acquired. Okay, we hired that company. So yeah, so as soon as we started talking to Corsair, they're like, oh yeah, this is Corsair. And they explained to us.
Yeah, they're already doing all the peripherals.
Yeah, like we already knew the brand, but we didn't quite know, how dedicated they were to the high end. Like they don't have any low end products. Like I didn't actually realize that.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we sell your Corsair chassis all the time. Our first ever computer was a Corsair 800D. Became a perfect fit of like, they wanted a SI brand to help sell more computers and grow their business because Corsair started as a memory company 20 years ago. I think it was 20, maybe 30, 20 or 30 years ago. Corsair started as a memory company. And then after that, they added, I think power supplies were next, maybe cases. But then Corsair power supplies, cases, fans, coolers, then added, I think after that, keyboard, mice, headset. Then I think I'm probably missing some products, but then at some point acquired Elgato, so has all the streaming products, acquired Origin PC, has the gaming PCs, acquired SCUF controllers, we acquired Drop, we have custom keyboards now, and then just recently acquired Fanatec simulation rigs. So Corsair has all those brands now. Started negotiating, talking to Corsair. They were like, yeah, we're dedicated to making really high-end quality components for gamers, or products for gamers. Like we have all this portfolio. And by the way, Corsair is #1 worldwide in memory, like 80% market share.
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Most gaming PCs have Corsair by far. Corsair is #1 in memory worldwide, #1 in chassis. Nobody sells more gaming chassis, fans, power supplies, and coolers. Dominates in all those component areas. And then Corsair does really well in keyboard mice as well. And then streaming, Stream Deck is #1. And SCUF is #1 controller. So, there's a definite pattern with Corsair, right? They always want to make the best quality and stand by it with great customer service and support. So from the get-go, we're like, oh, this is a perfect fit.
Yeah, aligned very well.
Yeah, and it was like the opposite of Alienware, where Alienware Dell, because Dell came in and said, efficiency, sell more, just make it more efficient and make more margin and, grow the business numbers-wise, but not necessarily brand-wise. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did bring the Alienware brand into chairs and monitors, and they're really cool Alienware products that are now on way more products than Alienware had when Alienware existed. Yeah. Originally. But Corsair came in and said, no, we want you to, keep buying all the Corsair equipment. Keep it high end, keep it premium. Obviously sell more. Who doesn't want to sell more? But don't just like go super mainstream. Like don't all of a sudden sell a $1,000 computer. Yeah. We don't want you to sell a $1,000 computer.
Yeah, you're not in the business.
We want you to stay at the high end. Yeah.
PCs.
Yeah. So, and Corsair's just really, really good people.
So it must have been a crazy transition going from a private company to now joining a public company on the stock market.
When we got acquired, we weren't public, but we went public shortly after that, or during, I'm not sure. COVID then happened. So, it's the COVID years of like time warp, and who knows, you can't remember exactly what happened during that 1 or 2 years. But I think we got acquired, and then, 2019 we got acquired, and I think 2020 we went public. I think, I'm not exactly sure. So for us, going from private to public wasn't that much of a change because we weren't there long enough when the company was not public. I mean, we were...
You were still transitioning.
Exactly. The transition was basically from small company Origin to big company Corsair. Not necessarily private, public. Just small company to big company. That was the transition. Yes, that was definitely a transition. The first year, they just told us focus on Origin. So the first year, we knew Corsair existed. The mothership was here, but we were just like Origin. Then the second year, that's when they're like, okay, here's your new job title, and we want you to do all the Origin marketing and biz dev, but also do this Corsair stuff. Corsair DIY marketing, I think component marketing, I think is what I started doing.
Oh, okay.
So then I started learning like, okay, how do we sell our chassis? How do we market our fans and power supplies? And working on the Corsair website and the Origin website. So we had all the Origin products launching, and then I would help launch like our Corsair chassis. So what I found out working at a big company is that there's a lot of meetings, and there's always the joke of like, oh, there's too many meetings, and why do the company have so many meetings? But I didn't understand it at first. I'm like, I don't understand why there's so many meetings. This is ridiculous. But then after I learned, it took me like 6 months to actually learn how Corsair totally worked. And what I learned is that purely communication. It's communication. Because you have 2,000 employees, and you have all these different business units and all these different departments. And if you don't communicate, things get lost like instantly. Yeah. And then things get off track, and then disaster down the road if things aren't lined up correctly. So you have to have these meetings to communicate to all the different people and make sure they're aware that this PC is coming. We're launching this power supply. Origin needs to know they're launching this power supply. So of course you could just have like one roadmap meeting, but then, things change constantly in our business.
Yeah.
So every week you need to be in touch with all the different people and all the stakeholders of what's going on. Like right now there's a ports strike going on, right? With the ports.
Yeah.
So that trickles down to Corsair because now we have products that are going on those boats, and people need to know. Everybody at Corsair needs to know, oh, what's going on? Oh, there's a strike. Oh, how long is it going to be? What's going to happen? What's our plan B? What are we going to do? What are we going to tell the press? What are we going to tell channel partners? Are we going to do something on the website? What are we going to tell customers? Like all these things. So I learned that all those meetings are needed for communication. And then I learned also that the language of corporations is PowerPoint slides. Slides, always have slides. Whenever you go into a meeting with somebody, if you don't have slides to present to them and you're just talking to them, that's fine. But if you have slides, it's way more productive meeting. And also, that person can take the slides and share them. That's the part that I was like, oh, now I get it.
That makes sense.
These slides are not just for the one meeting. That person can take it to their staff. Hey, share it with my staff. Here you go. Here's some slides. Boom, boom, boom. Now we all get it. And then also they could share with other companies. Now when I'm like doing a proposal, a marketing proposal, oh, we want to do this marketing deal with whatever, AMD or Intel or Microsoft, whatever. I used to just call them up and then send them an email. But now I give them slides. I'm like, I'm going to give you slides. And they're like, oh, thank you. Because they know they can take those slides and share them with their boss, share them with their coworkers, and be like, hey, Corsair wants to do this partnership, and this is what they want from us, and this is what they're going to give us. But the slides give you the whole visual and the whole story of what's going on.
And I'll take that with me moving forward.
Yes, exactly.
I will.
Yeah, anytime you want to meet with somebody, as ROK Esports, and even if they're going to come here and you're going to show them the place, it wouldn't hurt to bring them here and be like, let me tell you the history of ROK, and then just show some slides. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, just imagine the visual, like you're showing them a picture of ROK before the signage was here, when it was all gutted. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing when they see all these pictures. Maybe you can put those pictures here so people see, because I have it in my mind. Because I think you posted that on social media, right? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how I have that in my mind. I must have seen it on social media of the before. This is what it was before, and this is how it's
come a long way over here.
Yeah.
In about a year and a half now.
Only a year and a half.
Yeah.
It looks like a 10-year or 5-year-old business because it looks awesome. It's established. And it feels like longer, too, because time just flies.
Yeah. Well, it is and it isn't in a way, because we did start ROK December of 2018, filed the LLC.
Right.
But we didn't open our first location until...
That's right, because you were doing tournaments.
Yeah, so we always knew we wanted to open up our own place. We just didn't have the funds at the time or even the market knowledge. When we knew we wanted to open our place and we made the plan for it, we knew we needed to start small and kind of build up to that. That's exactly what we did. We wanted to build the brand. We wanted to see if there was a market fit. We wanted to see if people were going to come out to these events. And that way, when we eventually did open our place, we had 5 years of people seeing us, coming to our events, knowing about us, knowing our vision, knowing our future. And there's people that walk in to this day. It's their first time walking in a year and a half after being open. Hey, I've been at your events in 2019.
That's awesome.
This, that, the third.
That's an awesome strategy.
Yeah, it feels like we're babies still because it's such a new venture in this like first location. But it was always the plan, and it's been something we've been cooking up for 6-7 years. And people ask me, how are you able to open up a place like this? I was like, I started 6 years ago, and little by little we came to this.
It shows the quality, everything shows for sure. I love the bar area. One of the first things I think I said to you was like, this is not like other LAN centers I've been to. I was picturing in my mind like a dark place with just basic, everything. But this is the high-end premium bar. It's lit up. You feel like, okay, this is safe for kids or anyone. Not that the other places aren't safe.
Yeah, all ages are welcome.
But still, it's not dark and mysterious where most esports LAN centers are just
and
focused on games only.
It definitely does get dark in here at night when we start turning off the lights and such. But even then, we have like all this other like lighting in the area, just like give it that more homey feel. Because we wanted it to not just feel like just like a gaming center, but also give that sports bar feel where people can come in, they can have a beer with their friend, they could watch the League of Legends World Champion or the Overwatch World Champion or whatever games are going on. There's literally tournaments every single day for these games. But there's no place to go with your friend, have a beer, watch the games like you would at a sports bar. But then at the same time, we have the other side where like we wanted to give people opportunity to game on high-end PCs. We wanted to give people opportunity to compete in tournaments and get experience and get LAN experience. So that way when they further down in their careers, they have the experience to win those tournaments because those nerves are out of the way. Those first-time jitters are out of the way. And yeah, we partnered with Origin PC for that because you guys were local. You guys had super high-end PCs. Any issue that we ever run into, like down the street, 24-hour support. You know, it was awesome. Great. Everything happens for a reason. Everything, you know, we had to deal with a lot of struggles, like looking for a venue, telling venue owners, like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is our idea. And they'd be like, nah, I don't want that type of business here.
Yep.
And then the few times that a venue owner would be like, okay, like, let me see your proposal. Let me see your numbers. Give me a document, this, that, send it over. They're like, okay, this looks interesting. Then I would go to the zoning, and zoning would be like, nope, you can't open that type of business here. Oh. And, you know, in those moments, it was tough because it's like, yo, what is going on? Like, none of this is working. But it's like I said, everything happens for a reason. Like, if everyone didn't tell me no before, then I would have been stuck in some other place that's not this. And, like, thankfully, everyone told me no, and I was able to find this place after, like, 2 years of looking. And it's 10 minutes from my house. It's a minute and a half from my partner's house. It's in a great location, right on US 1.
Right on US 1, yeah.
We have the huge sign above the Taco Bell that's like twice the size of everyone else's. We have a huge space that we got a great deal for, like, the price of square footage compared to Miami pricing.
Nice.
Where I was looking at other locations that were 1,500 square feet less, and they wanted to charge like $2,000 more a month.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like,
man, it worked out so nice.
Yeah, it worked
such
out
a
great.
good location.
The Taco Bell, we've made them so much money since we've opened up.
I know, right?
They've extended their hours and everything.
Oh, yeah? Wow, they need to have a little sign inside the Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Go to Rocky Sports. It's right here in the parking lot.
Yeah. I tried to put, like, flyers and stuff in there, and they always, like, get rid of them.
Yeah, that's tough cookie to crack there.
Yeah, I need to talk to the marketing people over there.
Yeah, but it's a corporation, and, you know, but always keep trying. Perseverance.
No, I will. And it was super funny, like, seeing the Taco Bell employees, like, walk up to our store, like, taking pictures of our store hours, just because once we opened up, they're like, why are we getting so many people, like, on a Friday night, like, coming in, like, we're closing at this time.
Yeah.
And, like, there's, like, 50 people outside, like, trying to get some food. So they extended their hours. Now they're open till, like, 3 in the morning.
Wow.
They were closing at, like, midnight before,
the
like,
rock
1
effect.
in the morning.
That's what that is.
Yeah. They saw our times. We closed at 2 in the morning during the week, 4 in the morning on Friday and Saturday. And they're like, oh, I guess we're extending our hours. There's all these people looking to eat our food.
So now I should tell you about my next thing.
Yes.
Right?
So what is next for you,
I have some news. I'm actually going to be leaving Corsair and Origin. So I'm sad because Origin's my baby, and I love Corsair. You know, did Alienware for 10 years, Origin for 10 years, Corsair. So 25 years of gaming
your
PCs.
Whole life.
I've loved every second of it. Still love the industry and love it all. But about 2 years ago, I started getting the itch again of like, I'm at a big company again. I want to kind of do my own thing, start small again. What can I do? And I started looking at, you know, I didn't want to do another gaming PC company. There's a lot of really good gaming PCs out there already.
Yeah, you've done that twice now.
And there's really not a lot of margin, right? It's not a high margin business, slim margin, tough competition, but I love gaming. So I'm like, what can I do? And a lot of my marketing was going to influencers. I'm like, influencer marketing is like, that's where it's at. That's the best way to get the word out there for your products. So I started looking into influencer space. And then I've been working with Justin Roby for a long time. Yeah, so Justin Roby is a good friend of mine. I met him in the industry at an event. And he was doing game development for 20 years. So he was a game developer. What I wanted to be a long time ago. He was doing that. So he helped make a lot of the best games out there. A lot of the games that we cherish from back in the day. Like Age of Empires 2 and Halo and Forza, a bunch of other games I can't think of. Flight
Simulator. All my dad's favorite games. What? All my dad's favorite games.
Yes, the old school games.
He's still playing Age of Empires. And Forza is like one of his all-time favorites. He had like a league he competed in every Monday for Forza. Oh, wow. And eventually Forza invited him out like, hey, we want you to come compete in our big tournament that we have going on. Oh, sweet. And he was like already like too old, like had his own business, and he declined and would see like these 18-year-olds that he races with all the time going and race.
Oh, that's awesome. So Justin Roby told me a funny story, Forza story one time about when they were making the game. They got to drive all the cars, like they're driving the real cars. One day they all went to Taco Bell or some McDonald's or somewhere. They took all these super high-end supercars through a fast food drive-through because they're like, we got to eat, we got to go back to work. So let's go. But he also worked on, Justin also worked on most recently Halo Infinite. So that was the last game he helped ship.
Wow.
And then he was doing live streams at Microsoft. So at Microsoft, they're like, oh, hey, you know how to build computers. We have this thing called Mixer. Remember when Mixer was around? And Microsoft would do their own Mixer channel, and they would produce their own content on that channel. And they would do like PC builds and other things.
Cool.
And of course, it's Microsoft. They have more money than freaking anyone.
Yeah.
So of course, their stream, their show was the best quality. So he, was able to learn like the highest end production value of a live stream. This is how you do it. So he was on these shows doing the live builds of the PCs, and that's how we met. One day I was like, or maybe he asked us or we asked him, but somehow we collaborated to do a live build together at an event. Not me, but one of my employees. So I worked with him. I had one of my employees go build a PC with him, and that went well. So that's how I met him, and we became friends. Super good guy. And then Mixer folded, and then Microsoft was like, "Oh, we want you to like keep doing these like videos about building PCs." And he's kind of like, It's like they're not paying me like for 2 jobs. That's like another job. And he's like, I really like this. I think I'll just kind of do it on my own. So he decided to leave his 20-year career, storied career, and say, I'm going to make Robitech. So he started Robitech 2 or 3 years ago, I think 2 years ago. And then, so I immediately see this because I'm like, well, one, I know him. But then 2, I see like the quality. I'm like, man, this channel is brand new, small, but the quality is like way higher quality than any other startup channel. And he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. So I started looking at this channel. I told my staff at Origin, I'm like, hey, we need to support him because his channel's probably going to grow and he's going to give us good reviews. So we'll get good reviews out of it. We can support him at the same time, help somebody else, and let's work together. So we started doing reviews with him, doing content with him. He starts growing. And then I'm noticing that not only is the quality of the content good, but then we did a deal with him here, actually. So we did an AMD. So we did a partnership with AMD and Robitech, and we did an esports small like video, right? Sort of a tournament, right? But competition of some pro players showing off our OLED monitors and AMD powered PCs and your AMD powered PCs here. And then Robitech's team did the whole activation. So they flew down here, brought his whole staff, and then there was a motherboard that was missing for one of the PCs. I don't know if you know this part of the story.
I didn't know that part.
I was going to say, I don't think you even know this part. This might actually have been a different activation, because did his wife come?
No.
Okay, so this is a different activation. So we did one here, and then we did another activation at Origin. So you met him here, and you saw how his staff was like on point with everything.
Yeah, Deb,
super high quality.
Shout out Deb.
Deb was here, like not only a great production value and great content, but nice people. So I like that they were like really good people. And then we did this other activation with them where we were doing a live build. I think it was for an Intel launch or something. Yeah, we were launching, I think, one of the Intel processors. We were doing like one of the first builds. So an Intel guy was there too. So a motherboard company, unnamed motherboard company, was supposed to ship the motherboard. And he gets to Origin. He's like, oh, where's this motherboard? This company sent it. I'm like, oh, they didn't send it. He's like, what? So he's like, I can't believe they didn't send it. And the live build is tomorrow. They told me they were sending it. Like, he's like, don't worry. I have a motherboard in my house and in Seattle. I'm like, what? Where am I? He's like, don't worry. We'll be fine.
That's when his wife came.
He calls
down.
his wife and he says, I need you to get this motherboard. It's on this shelf in this room in the house. Get on a plane at 10 p.m. Fly overnight, 6 a.m., land here. Drive to the Origin office and give us the motherboard so that we could do the show. And I was like, when he did that, I was like, I like that. I'm like, that's what I would do. When I, even now, but when we're a startup at any time, it's like you just get the job done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, whatever. I hit this roadblock. I hit this
I guess I'll just stop.
I guess
here.
we'll have to reschedule. But he's like, no. We're not rescheduling. We're doing the live build. It's happening. We'll make it happen. So I'm like, man, I like his dedication to quality work and getting the job done. And then his strategy is also reviewing products, but in a positive way. So he tries to see the positive way of all products. He recommends whatever he thinks is the best. He's not just going to say buy everything. But if there's an issue, like we set up a computer one time, full disclosure, we sent him a computer one time. There was some sort of shipping issue or something and it arrived damaged. And he's like, hey, I'm not going to do this video. He's like, I could do a video and be like, look at this damaged computer. He's like, but that's not my content. That's not what I do. I just want to give you guys a fair shake. So, what would you do in a customer situation when this happened? I'm like, we would recall the computer, fix it, send it back to you. He's like, so do that. Recall the computer, fix it, ship it back to me. And then I'll do the review. So we did that. So, 2 years ago, he starts up and I see all this goodness happening. I'm like, man, I really like all this stuff about this person and this channel. And I started looking of like, what am I going to do? And I was like, this is like, I'm either going to do my own thing. I don't know what that would be. Or I would partner with somebody like this. Good people making good quality content in the same industry, and I see they're small with a lot of potential. So I started talking to him. Oh, would you be interested? Maybe I could join you one day, but I would want to be your partner and, not just be an employee. He's like, oh, I never thought about that, but maybe. Let me think about it. So fast forward 2 years later, I have signed and I'm officially RobiTech's partner. I'll be the RobiTech CEO.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to help grow the company. So we have our channel, RobiTech channel, where we do all our live builds and content, and YouTube shorts, etc. So we're going to hopefully get more views. That's one job of mine, is to get more views on our current channel. Then there's a second part of the business, which is agency work. So RobiTech actually does the Intel Live Show every week. So it's called the Intel Live Show. It's all branded Intel Live Show, but RobiTech is running it behind the scenes. So as an agency, we're doing that work. And then there's also Intel's launching a new processor coming up, and then RobiTech is running that whole stream for the brand new processor. It's a huge deal, brand new Intel architecture, brand new processor, and there's one live stream announcing it all from Intel, and RobiTech is powering that whole thing. So there's a bunch of agency work. So my job is to grow the agency work. Like, who else? So I'll
get more jobs, get more gigs.
I'll go back to going to events and walking up to every booth and be like, hey, let's do a deal together. And then there's a third part of the business, which is less defined right now. But the third opportunity potential is that we build and grow more channels. So we have our tech channel, our agency. Potentially we could have more channels. It could be anything, cooking channel or Lego channel or board game channel, or who knows. It could be developed in-house, or we could have somebody that we see and meet with them and they join our team. That one's undefined exactly how that'll work, but there's plenty of opportunity in these two things. So I'm super excited that I get to be working with great people, RobiTech and his family. I met his wife, met his dad, brother-in-law, sister.
Yeah, good friend of yours.
Mom, so super awesome people. And that was the most important thing to me, of they're awesome people. So I'll be happy working with them.
Yeah.
No matter what, we'll have fun together. We'll do our best. But then I see this huge potential of it's a small channel now, but I think it could grow to be a much bigger channel and agency. And I get to work in the same industry with all the same people. When I told Corsair Origin I'm leaving, I'm like, I'm very sad to leave. I love it here, but I'm super happy at this new opportunity. And then I get to call you up and be like, let's do a video together. Yeah. So I'm like, I'll still work with you. Yeah. And I get to work with my competitors. So the gaming PC companies that I am friends with, I'm actually friends with a lot of my competitors. Now I can call them up, and I've already called one of them up, and he said, yeah, let's do a 12-month deal together. Just like that. I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to open up a lot of doors.
Because he also was like, I think I really like the person. He's like, I don't know him, but I see his quality and I see his dedication to positivity. He's like, I think I like this guy, and I want to help support him as a business in the same industry. And he's like, now you're there, so let's do a deal. So I'll be working remote, so I get to stay in Miami also. My parents live here, so I get to stay close to my parents. And I'll go to even more. I love going to events and meeting with new contacts, meeting with old contacts, friends. So I'll do that even more. I'll go to CES, Computex, maybe DreamHacks. Soon I'll be going to the Intel launch event for the new processor. So that'll be super fun. And then while I'm out there, I'm going to go see the Super Nintendo Land, California. So that'll be cool. My first time doing that. So that's my news. That's officially
amazing.
Leaving.
I'm wishing you the best on your next opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And anywhere we can get involved, let me know.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. And anything we could do to help you guys as well. I'm sure we'll do some collaborations together for sure. Well, before that, there was one more thing I want to remember before I forget. Origin was just at TwitchCon. I was just at TwitchCon. Yeah. And we had the Elgato booth, the Corsair booth. It was super cool. I don't know if you saw, but we had an arcade machine there.
Yes.
So we built one last year, and then PJ built another one this year.
Yeah, I saw it.
A newer model. So we wanted to offer it to you. If you want, we could loan it to you. We could bring it here, and people could play. This is the only place where you can play the Origin arcade. Yeah. So
my arcade machine's getting a little bit old over there, so I'll definitely replace.
I saw your arcade machine there. That one's awesome. But ours is bigger and better. And
more powerful.
Even pinball. I was playing pinball on it. Pinball on it is actually freaking awesome.
I need to put Pac-Man on it because I get the mayor, Palmetto Bay, and all these older people that are like, yo, you got Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Because I'll be here all day.
It's always the go-to. Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Pac-Man or Tetris? You have Tetris? So I wanted to remember to ask you if you wanted to.
I would love it.
Awesome, thank you. So I think it'll arrive this week or next week back from San Diego, and then we'll have to figure out how to get it from our office over here because it is a giant arcade machine.
It's huge.
And then we'll just put it here, and we'll promote come here to play it. So hopefully we drive some foot traffic
Yeah,
to you.
we'll do some cool videos on it too.
Yeah, and then whatever you want. You could use it for pay-per-play, or you could use it for free play. You could use it for tournaments. Like, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, it'll probably be some type of free play thing. I like having an arcade machine that people can just hop on. And we'll get the Street Fighter players on there, the Tekken players.
True. Yeah, it's always good to start that way, right? And then if it's
that's one thing.
If there's a line of like 10 people, then you could be like, maybe I'll start charging. But
tell me about your LAN parties back in the day. Since I own a LAN center, I got to hear about your Street Fighter, your Rainbow Six LAN parties.
Oh, yes. At Alienware, we used to have, we called them the Frag Fest.
Frag Fest.
So way back in the day, going back in time again to Alienware, there was no internet. There was no easily accessible internet. There was internet, but there was no easily accessible internet. There was no way to easily play online games with your friends. At Alienware, we were all gamers. So at the very beginning, the way it started was we would just come into Alienware. So we would come into Alienware, and there was a room where I did all the quality assurance, and there was like 12 computers there. So you could max out 10 or 12 people, whatever it was. And people would just like write their name. This is my computer. They would go look at all the specs. Oh, this is the best computer. Dibs. And then that weekend we would come play on those computers. But then that became like, no, we can't use customer computers. We can't have people in the office on the weekend eating food and blah, blah. I mean, not in the lab. So then we just, and plus we needed more spots. So then we said, all right, we're going to make this thing called the Frag Fest. So we would clear out like a big area at work and set up tables and tell everybody. We'd post all over flyers all over the office. Frag Fest 2 or 3 or 4 every time. I was like, name. Whatever. These are the games we're going to play. We'd be like Planet Side or whatever. Unreal Tournament or Tribes. I remember that was one of the ones. Rainbow Six.
Doom.
Yep, Doom, of course. And then, so to have these games, have these patches, like 1.16 or whatever. So we'd have write down, like, have this patch. And then also remember to bring your monitor, keyboard, mouse, power cables, and Ethernet cable. If you show up without an Ethernet cable, you're screwed. You got to bring your own Ethernet cable. So then people would come with their giant desks, or giant desktops, and their keyboard mouse, and then the giant CRT monitors. There was the ViewSonic, I think it was called ViewSonic PF22, 22-inch ViewSonic monitors, freaking ginormous, super heavy. And people would lug that thing around, myself included. Put it in my car, unplug my house, drive it to Alienware, and then set it just for one day. And then one day we played games all day, and we would just compete with each other. It was super fun. And I remember one time we were playing Tribes, I think it was, and Tribes had vehicles in it, I think, transports. I think it was Tribes or PlanetSide, one of those two games. And we were playing like 5v5 or 6v6 or 10v10, whatever it was. I think maybe 10v10. Because it was a pretty big map and there were vehicles and all that stuff. So I was driving like the transport, and everybody's like, all right, get in, everybody get in. Everybody gets in. I'm the pilot. And then it was like a spaceship type of thing. And then it was on a cliff, like the launch pad. So then I took off, and I don't know what the heck I was doing, but somehow I took off and I did this down the cliff, blows up, everybody dies, and everybody was pissed. And there was this one guy that worked there who's freaking ripped. Like his name was Hulk. He was a giant dude, and he's like, bam, slams his mouse.
Hulk smash.
Who's driving that transport? I was just like, I didn't have to say a word. I was like, Later, the next week, I told him, I was like, hey, remember, that was me, sorry. When he calmed down, I was like, I pressed the wrong button. I don't know what happened. We all freaking died. My bad. But that's how competitive and intense it was. And then when we got acquired, so we did a lot of those Frag Fests. Those were awesome. And then the other thing that comes to mind is when we got acquired by Dell. Dell got word of our Frag Fests, and Battlefield 2142 was the game at that time, the futuristic Battlefield. And they were like, oh, well, we have like an employee lounge. If we play that game, like we're good at that game. Like, oh, okay, well, we're better. And they're like, oh, we don't think you're better. We're like, okay, well, let's play. Let's organize a game online. We'll play a tournament. And they're like, okay. So then this literally becomes like a big deal, like a really big deal. The founders, this is when we're acquired, but the founders are still there. So the founders are like, okay, every day from this time to this time, I forgot what it was, we're all meeting in the lunchroom and we're practicing. It was literally like a scheduled meeting, practice Battlefield with the bosses. That was my part of my job at that time. So we would have to practice. And we were already played with each other every night. We were good. But then we practiced like playing as a very specific unit with I forgot what it was called, but that game had like a commander type of person that could help like organize and give waypoints and instructions.
Yeah, some type of lieutenant or something.
Yeah. So we're there practicing every day. The founders were like, I mean, if you lose this game, like you might lose your job. This is serious. Like we cannot lose to Dell. There's no way we're losing this match to Dell. If you don't win, this is big time trouble. Yeah. Like, oh God. So now we're like actually a little nervous. Like, our freaking lives are on the line here. Our careers, our 10-year careers on the line on one game. So then they had a European Alienware. Sorry, it was just us at Alienware. There was a European Dell team and there was a US Dell team. And the European Dell team was better. We knew they were much better than the American team. I forgot how we knew that information, but they told us or something. So because of the time zones and everything, it worked out that we played Europe first. So we get load up. We're into the match. We're playing the European team. It's intense. And then we destroy them. We totally destroy them. We like whipped them like it was nothing.
Too easy.
It was, we were like high-fiving and laughing. We're like, oh my God, this is hilarious. These guys suck, whatever. They didn't like suck, but we were just really good. So then we were picturing like they probably just play like each other at work and they think they're good, but they're not that good.
Yeah, no.
So then we wipe them, and then it's like, okay, now we have to play the U.S. team. And at this point, we're like, whatever. Hey, who wants to play? Anybody, shipping person, whatever, random person, you can come in. We just start letting anybody play with us. Like everybody, get a kill.
Get the security guard. Bring him in.
The security guard. You never played a game in your life. You can play. And we just wiped them all out.
Jesus.
And it was like one of the best days ever. To think that was like part of our job in our history. It's crazy.
That's such a good core memory too.
Yeah, but I'm so lucky to be a part of like something like that where I got to help grow a company, help grow another company, be a part of the whole industry, go to events, meet people. Like I'm on the Intel board of advisors. At one point I was president of the Intel board of advisors. I'm on the AMD SI gaming console. I'm on the NVIDIA gaming console. So
that's so cool.
Just being a part of these companies, billion-dollar companies, and just with the whole reason of like I want to be on these boards to just help them make better products for gamers. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. We want to make better products. You want to make better products, just so we can all play games better.
And look at where you're at now.
I'm also on the board for Able Gamers.
Nice.
So Able Gamers is a charity. So I'm a volunteer charity member. Volunteer member of the board. So my charity is all my time that I just work there for free. And our mission at Able Gamers is to bring gaming to everyone, whether you have a social anxiety or mental reasons why you can't play or physical limitations. We want to make it so that everyone is able to be a gamer, Able Gamers. That's our mission. And I love the organization. Anything you can do to help Able Gamers, check out our streams that we do. If you want to donate, you can. Any amount is appreciated. Or if you just want to get the word out there. But that's near and dear to my heart. That charity. Then I'm also teaching esports marketing. So here at Florida International University, I'm helping teach. I'm helping teach with another. So I'm a professor. Mm-hmm. So a professor means I come in with my professional, background and knowledge. And then we have traditional professors. So we have 5 different courses with traditional professors, and then we have 2 professors, myself and Vicky, and we're teaching esports marketing. It's 5 courses, and you get an esports marketing certificate. So that's something fantastic for your resume. Like if I was go back in time as to when I wanted to be in the gaming industry, what am I going to do? What am I going to study? I would have seen that certificate and be like, yes, I'm going to definitely do that and do all my other things. And that just helps my resume. And anybody can take it. You don't have to be a FIU student. So
is it all online?
It's partially online. Some of it's online. Some of it's in person.
Okay, cool.
And it depends on the semester. It depends on the courses. Right now, we have a course that's all online. Super easy, and everybody there is gamers also, so it's really fun. So yeah, those are the 2 things that I thought. I was like, I definitely should talk about Able Gamers and talk about FIU. If you want to know more information about the FIU Esports Marketing Certificate, you can literally just Google what I just said.
Yeah, we'll put the link.
Oh yeah, you'll put the link. Yeah, so we have a link and it shows you the classes that are coming up.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you for having me. Super fun.
I always appreciate every time you stop by, and whenever you're sending messages and getting involved and stuff, it means a lot.
Yes,
so
I appreciate that and love what you guys do. And same thing that I said earlier, like I like working with good people that are also doing gaming. That's how I got involved with FIU. We're actually bidding with FIU to sell them. It's called bidding when you're offering computers and other people. We're offering them computers, for the university. And I met some of the people that were doing some of the esports stuff, and I immediately told them, I'm like, look, if you buy computers or not, I would love for you to buy computers, but even if you buy our competitor computers, I love gaming and I love the local aspect, and you are good people, seem like really good people. Like I'd like to help this grow any way it can grow, and we can reach more gamers, help students. So they remembered that, and they called me like a year later or 2 years later, whatever it was. They're like, would you like to actually teach classes, help? I'm like, yes, let's do
That's what
this.
it's all about.
Yeah. So same thing here. When I heard of you guys, I came and met your team. I'm like, oh yeah, these are great people. I see your history of the 5 years, the good quality. You're dedicated to making a great place where people can play games. Like that's like right where my heart is. So I love everything about Rock Esports, and I'll always help support you guys.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And for the viewers, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, the biggest thing you can take from this, follow your dreams, follow your passions. Hard work pays off, believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Perseverance for sure.
Yeah, you never know when one door closes, another door will open. Yeah, see you guys next time.